Ladies and gentlemen, good day and welcome to the Solar Industries India Q2 FY22 results conference call hosted by Centrum Broking Limited. As a reminder, all participants' lines will be in listen-only mode, and there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions after the presentation concludes. Should you need assistance during the conference call, please signal an operator by pressing star and 0 on your touchtone phone. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Chirag Muchala from Centrum Broking Limited. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Vikram. Centrum Broking welcomes you all to the Q2 FY22 results conference call of Solar Industries India Limited. The management is represented by Mr. Manish Nuwal, Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Suresh Menon, Executive Director, Mr. Munish Agrawal, Joint CFO, and Ms. Shalini Mandhana, Joint CFO. I now hand over the call to the management for their opening remarks, post which we can take questions from participants. Over to you, sir.
Very good morning and welcome to Solar second quarter and half-yearly investor conference. My name is Shalini and I would like to welcome all of you on behalf of Solar Industries India Limited. To begin with, I would like to remind you that during this call, we might make projections or other forward-looking statements regarding future events and about the future financial performance. Please remember that such statements are only predictions. Actual events or results may differ materially, and our website will be updated with all the relevant information timely. Now I would request Solar's CEO and MD, Mr. Manish Nuwal, for his opening remarks. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Shalini. A very good morning to all the valued investors. We are pleased to present highest ever second quarter and half yearly numbers with good growth across geographies and sectors. We have been able to achieve a decent EBITDA margin despite of challenges mainly arising out of steep rise in commodity and foreign exchange fluctuation in the current quarter. However, the company has started passing on the increase in cost to the end customers, and we are expecting the impact of commodity prices should subside in coming quarters. The Government of India has been laying great emphasis on infrastructure development, housing and mining. The Gati Shakti Master Plan announced by Government of India will definitely give a tremendous boost to our industry. Positive momentum in the defense, exports and overseas business has laid a strong foundation for sustainable growth in the future. We are entering into the second half of the year with a strong order book of 2842 crores, which includes new order from Coal India Limited to the tune of rupees 1471 crores. Despite of risk associated with rising commodity prices and likely COVID third wave, the half-yearly results have given us confidence to revise our earlier given annual growth guidance from 30 to 40%. Now, before I hand over to Shalini to take you through the financials, I would like to wish you all a very happy Diwali in advance. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. The key highlights for the second quarter are the consolidated revenue is up by 34%, that is 788 crores versus 587 crores. The explosive revenue is up by 48%, that is 328 crores versus 222 crores. Our explosives volume has increased by 16%, that is 80337 metric ton versus 69195 metric tons. The realizations of explosives have increased by almost 27%, that is 40874 versus 32074. The initiating system revenue has also increased by almost 38%, that is 84 crores versus 61 crores. The raw material consumption has increased by almost 53% if we see YOY from 289 crores to 442 crores on account of steep rise in raw material prices in absolute terms. The other expenses has increased by 27% from 117 crores to 149 crores, which includes mainly amount of rupees 29 crores on account of foreign exchange fluctuations. We reported an EBITDA increase in absolute term to 143 crores against 128 crores, a rise of almost 12%. The PBT increased by 13% from 92 crores to 104 crores. PAT for the similar quarter has increased by 11% from 68 crores to 75 crores. These were updates for the quarter. Let me take you through the half-yearly performance. The half-yearly revenue is up by almost 50% YOY, that is from 1078 crores to 1613 crores. Domestic explosives quantity increased by almost 31% from 139,481 metric ton to 182124 metric ton. Realization of domestic explosives increased by 24%, that is from 33164 to 41045 per ton. Revenue from domestic explosives increased by 62% from 463 crores to 748 crores. The initiating system domestic revenue increased by 48% YOY from 122 crores in half yearly to 180 crores in first half 22. The raw material price is up by 63% for the half year YOY from 558 crores to 911 crores on account of steep rise in raw materials. The employee cost has increased by 27%. The other expenses has gone up by 33% from 197 crores to 262 crores, which includes a loss of 26 crores on account of forex fluctuations. EBITDA for the half year is up by 42% from 224 crores to 31 crores in absolute numbers. We recorded a PBT of 244 crores compared to 153 crores. We recorded a PAT number of 176 crores compared to 112 crores. The capex till 30th September is 137 crores and the annual guidance plan is 315 crores. We have a total order book of 2842 crores comprising of new order from Coal India to the tune of 1471 crores and defense order book of 576 crores. This is from our end. Now we'd be happy to take any questions, comments or suggestions that you may have. Back to you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on your touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use your question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have a first question from the line of Sujit Jain from ASK Investment Managers. Please go ahead.
Manishji and team, congratulations and our compliments for the highest ever turnover like you mentioned. Quick question is on, Coal India large order that you received, which will kind of get executed over next 2 years. One presumes that a lot of it would be bulk explosives. Does that mean that because of that change in the mix, the operating profit margins over next 2 years could be a little muted?
The order book that 1471 crores is mainly bulk. That's the new order that we have received. There is an increase in volume by about 17% from the previous order, and there is a price increase of roughly 26%. So I do not think that this product mix will make major difference at this juncture.
Right. And when I look at the gross margins for Q2, they were kind of depressed, and as you mentioned, the raw material price inflation would be passed on to consumers with a lag. Does that mean that eventually our margins will come back to 20% from Q3, Q4 onwards?
Yes. We have never seen such a steep rise in commodity prices in last so many years, which is currently visible everywhere. The company has started passing on the increase in the cost to the end customers, but passing the full price is not possible on immediate basis. So there's always a lag of a month or two or a quarter, depending on the terms and relationship with the customers. So when we talk about margins, we feel that the EBITDA margin should be around 20% and PAT should be around 11% on annual basis.
Right, that's great. And you have called out 29 crores in other expenses as forex fluctuation item. If I add that back, X of that, our margins could have been higher by 3-4% for Q2. Is the understanding correct?
Yeah, it should have been up by around 3% plus.
Right, sure. Thank you and all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, participants may press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Brijesh Joshi from HDFC Bank. Please go ahead.
Very good morning, everybody. Many congratulations, first of all, to Solar Industries India Limited for achieving this beautiful result. And from my end, from HDFC Bank end, I'm wishing everyone over on this call, wishing a very, very happy Diwali and a very happy, prosperous New Year. I actually have a small question on this. As it is mentioned that the prices of raw material has increased and to a large extent has been able to pass on this price hike to the end customers. So what is the component of the freight? The freight prices have also increased. The freight has gone up. In some of the cases, in some of the other companies I'm dealing in those companies, I have seen the hike of around 200% in freight. So what is the situation in case of Solar Industries and how Solar is managing all these?
The AN prices, the price of raw materials when we talk about includes all the factors. We take into account all the factors. So when we say there's an increase of around 38% YOY and the raw material prices increased by 11% on from previous quarter. So this includes the freight as well. So the same will be passed on to the customers, but with the lag of a period.
With the lag of a period, so how much a company expects? It will a quarter. It will be a quarter or two a maximum.
Not a quarter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's around 1 to 3 months.
1 to 3 months.
Yeah.
That is a quarter.
Yeah, that is a quarter. Correct.
Okay. So how much will be the effect of this price hike? The freight hike.
We have taken all the factors into account, and as I said, we should maintain the EBITDA margins on annual basis around 20%, including all the price rise.
Okay, fine. That's it from my end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, participants may press star 1 now. We have next question from the line of Abhishek Poddar from HDFC Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for taking my question. First is regarding the raw material situation. If you could highlight, any challenges that you are facing in sourcing of, key raw materials, and how is the inventory situation?
Yeah, like we have been sharing over last many years, we have a good relationship with our vendors due to our commitment and pricing terms and our payment terms. So we have a fairly comfortable position to fulfill our obligation with our customers who are on contract or on spot basis. So we have a very good relationship with our customers and vendors as well, and we are in a comfortable position.
Understood. But sir, because of the energy shortage, is there a possibility that you will be concerned that it could impact the ammonia nitrate supplies, and you probably would want to overstock if the event happens like that?
As far as our company is concerned, we have taken all the best efforts to fulfill our contractual obligations and to meet our routine customers' requirements. So we are pretty much comfortable.
Understood. Sir, regarding the defense side of the business, any sense on the Pinaka orders? What is the progress, and what is our expectation now? And also, if you could highlight, what is the defense order book and what kind of execution we are looking at for this year and next year?
Yeah, as we have informed earlier that our company is one of the authorized production agency for making these Pinaka rockets. And the recent Defense Acquisition Council has accorded acceptance for necessity for capital acquisition proposal for modernization and operational need of their armed forces. And it includes Pinaka rocket ammunition. The value and our share will be known only after RFP is finalized. So we are waiting for RFP to come. Apart from this, like we have shared that our order book is now stands at 576 crores because of the big order which we have received couple of months back, which was multi-mode hand grenade. So we are now in a comfortable position, and we will see the better numbers coming from defense from next quarter.
Understood. Sir, any sense of timelines for Pinaka in terms of RFP on a rough cut basis also?
So recently they have cleared the acquisition of these products. So once they release RFP, we will definitely share with all our stakeholders.
Understood. And sir, on the international operations, if you could highlight, how is the situation in Turkey, and also if you could talk about the expansion in Australia and Tanzania.
Yeah, our operations in Turkey is business as usual, and though Turkey has come under the grey list, but it doesn't really impact our business, except there could be some foreign currency fluctuation, and we don't see much other issues because of Turkey coming under the grey list. As far as Tanzania is concerned, I think we have almost completed our project, and it should go into commercial production, I think, in November. Australia, the construction is still gone. It has been delayed because of COVID and heavy monsoon in that part of Australia. I think we should be able to complete in this financial year.
Understood. And how is the profitability in South African operations, sir?
We were expecting EBITDA in level BEP in the current financial year, but Africa was sluggish with challenges around COVID, forex fluctuations and steep inflation in the raw material prices and logistic concerns also. So we feel by next year it should be in line.
Okay, understood. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, ladies and gentlemen, please press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Bharat Gupta from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Hi, Manish and team. Congratulations for such a great set of numbers. My question pertains to first on the defense side. So there we have seen that on a YY basis, our contribution is remaining as a constant figure. While earlier we were projecting of delivering near about 300 crores for the full year. So do you think that the target is now on the upper side and there may be a need to revise on it further?
Defense side, earlier we have given a projection that we should be able to reach to around 300 crores numbers, and we believe that we should be able to reach around 275 in this financial year.
All right, sir. And sir, for the MMG orders, so that was the commitment where we have to deliver the orders within the 2 years time frame, right? So for the next year, do we think that our overall contribution can be greater than 400 odd crores for FY23?
Yeah, for this financial year, we should be able to reach around 275 crores. and as we progress further, we will give the annual guidance once we really reach into the Q3 or Q4 numbers.
Right, sir. And so secondly, coming on the guidance trend, so there we have highlighted in device it upwards towards 40-odd%. So mainly I just wanted to get a sense about what kind of a volumetric growth are we looking for the full year basis?
For the current year, we feel the volume should grow around 15 to 20%.
Right.
Yeah.
And the rest would be pricing, right? And so coming on the export trend, where we have seen a 34% kind of a growth. So just wanted to get a sense about our stabilization in operations pertaining to Ghana into South African markets. So what has been the key driver in this particular quarter?
Generally, we do not share the country-wise revenue. We share that on annual basis. Yeah, but on overall basis, the exports and overseas revenue in the quarter has grown by 34%. And on half year
have
basis,
we seen
it's 40% plus.
Right. Have we seen any logistical challenges pertaining to container issues or something with respect to our overseas supply?
Yeah, the logistic challenges are still existing. It has existed for the last 6, 7, 9 months. We have managed it till now. I think we will face that challenge and manage it going forward.
Right, sir. And sir, my last question pertains to the capex front. So where we were planning for 2 new plants. So how are we placed, and what is the expected timeline for the completion of the same?
Currently, as we said, during the half year, we had done around 137 crores of capex, and the annual guidance stands at 315. So we are on track, and despite of the rise in every commodities, we are maintaining the guidance of 315.
My question pertains have we finalized the lands for the 2 upcoming plants which we are thinking, and what is the time frame where we can commence the production on the same facility?
We are still exploring the location feasibility in the regions mentioned, that is in the northwest and south of India. The same is in progress, and as and when that gets finalized and materialized, that will be communicated.
Sure. Really helpful. Wish the team a very happy Diwali in advance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. A reminder to participants, if you wish to ask a question, please press star 1 now. We have next question from the line of Mayank Bhandari from Nirmal Bang Institutional Equities. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my first question is on the guidance that you have revised to almost 40% growth. And in first half, you have done almost 50% growth, which implies that second half would probably be a 30% growth. So 30% growth would be a value growth, and there may not be any volume growth. That is what you are indicating?
No, as I said earlier, the volume growth should be around 15 to 20% on year basis. On half year, if we see, the volume growth was around 31%.
Yes, so second half there will not be much volume growth, right?
No, we see the volume growth because even from Coal India order, we have got an additional 17% volume growth.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, please press star 1. We have next question from the line of Abhijit Mitra from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for taking my question. Just to understand the nature of the margin drop that we see in this quarter a bit more. So, in terms of your ammonium nitrate pricing, what is the kind of escalation that we have seen in this quarter? And, also to understand, is this pricing also leading to some amount of volume pushback from the clients? Are you seeing some element of demand destruction happening also? The reason I am asking is the sharp increase in working capital also that we are seeing, which is pulling up your net debt. So some color on this would be of great help. Thanks.
Yeah, as regards ammonium nitrate, the prices have increased on year-on-year basis in the quarter at around 38%, and on quarter-on-quarter from the previous quarter phase it's around 11%. And further also we foresee a steep rise in prices till the price stabilizes. So we have started passing on the increase in the cost to the customers, but with a lag of month and quarter.
Apart from this price rise, what you have asked, whether it will impact the demand cycle of the product or not, I would like to add on this point that this second quarter is normally a lean period for our country for demand of explosives. From October onwards, definitely we see that price will not impact the demand as such, because everybody would like to finish their projects and do the mining before the next monsoon starts. So the window available is only 7 to 9 months, and we don't feel that it will impact the demand as such. And like we have seen, there are a lot of supply chain bottlenecks coming up in the country because of the international factors. So that will also reduce the availability of raw materials in the country. But like we have shared that we have taken all the necessary steps to come out of these kind of challenges, and we are pretty much confident that we will be able to continue passing on the prices to the customers and meet their demand as per our obligations.
And on the borrowing part, no doubt that has increased, but if we see in proportion to sales, that is okay. And the working capital position, we are at the same level, that is we have maintained at 108 days. But if we see the inventory days, that has come down from March from 119 to 105, and debtor days has also gone down from 66 to 60. And also the creditor days have gone down by 20 days. That is, it was 78 days in March, and currently it's 58 days. So the working capital days remain same, but overall the working capital position is quite good. And by March we feel that it should be around 100 days, further reduced to 100 days.
Great, that answers my question. Thank you a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star followed by 1 on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Amit Zade from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Good morning, Nilesh ji and team. Thanks for the opportunity. Nilesh ji, just one question on the domestic explosive industry side. Correct me if I am wrong, since last 4 to 5 years, we have seen this industry almost in the range of 5,000 crores to 6,000 crores. And now, what do you see this industry moving towards? And within this industry, any specific segments like demand from coal, limestone, iron ore, road? If you can break these 3-4 key segments of the industry, and which part of this industry you are more bullish on and see higher growth traction in the near future, sir?
Based on our experience and the inputs which we receive from various quarters, we believe that the industry should grow at 7 to 8% on sustainable basis for years to come. And as far as mining growth is concerned, it can be around 6 to 7%, which is a sustainable number. And for housing and infrastructure, we believe, based on the various projects and strategic push from the government of India, demand should continue at around 10 to 11%.
Okay. Sir, any broad breakup of this industry, in terms of coal, limestone, iron ore, and road infrastructure?
By and large, the breakup is already given in our annual report. You can refer that. And if you have any more questions, you can send us. We will reply to that.
Okay, sir, got it. And sir, another question on our Coal India revenue. So again, since last 3-4 years, we have been in the range of 400 odd crores, plus minus by 10%. And now we are pretty much confident of clocking almost, if we add back bulk plus detonators, roughly 700 crores to 800 crores of annual run rate. So we are almost seeing suddenly doubling of this contribution from Coal India after almost being stagnated for last 5 years. So are we confident on such kind of volume growth would sustain, or you believe this kind of now that we have reached the next level, so that it would again maybe stagnate at these level for few years and then go ahead?
So like I have answered now, that mining growth, we foresee that there will be in the range of 6 to 7%, and mining growth in India mainly because of the coal mining. And as government has already announced that they will open up the coal block to the private players. So what we give a guidance or our perception that 6 to 7% growth includes demand from Coal India, Singareni Collieries Company Limited, and various private coal miners. So as far as your question of our dependence or our revenue share from Coal India is concerned, like we have been sharing that our revenue from Coal India as a percentage of total sales is going down, but our presence in Coal India is not going down. If you look at our basket now, it is around 16 to 17% of the total revenue, and it is similar to these numbers, plus minus 2%, or it was 20% few years back. So gradually, as our businesses from defense, businesses from international market, businesses from housing and infra sector will grow, definitely share from Coal India will keep reducing little or gradually.
Got it, sir. Got it. Thank you. Thanks a lot, and wish you very happy Diwali to you and the entire team of Solar. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Abhishek Ghosh from DSP Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Manish and team. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Sir, if you can just help us understand that this time around in the Coal India bidding process, how was the competitiveness given the overall sourcing issues of the raw material? Are you seeing reduced competitive intensity? Any thoughts around that, sir, for the Coal India bidding? It will be helpful.
The bidding process is as per the normal process that Coal India had for the last few years. The bidding process, there was no change in the bidding process. The number of participants or suppliers or vendors who participate in the tender remained the same. Definitely, there could have been issues with supply chain problems and logistic problems for certain vendors who may have actually moved out of Coal India's participation and not taking the order. That could have happened. As a result of which we have got a 17% increase in volume.
So your market shares for Coal India would have remained stable?
More or less, maybe a slight increase, but more or less stable, a little increase.
Oh, okay. And the margin expectation also would be stable. Like earlier years, what your margins you were making, similar margins you would be making going forward also on a per ton basis.
There may be some increases which in this coming because there has been a better price rise in this tender.
Oh, great. And sir, X of Coal India in the housing segment and other segments that you are seeing in the domestic market, are you seeing the lower scale players having the issues of working capital and sourcing? Is that something that you're seeing in the marketplace?
Like I have already shared that the current challenges is mainly because of commodity price increase and disruption in the supply chain. That is impacting the industry as a whole. What we are looking at this moment is to meet our contractual obligation and to feed our customers who always buy from us or who are dependent to a large extent on supplies from solar. So we are not looking at what other people are doing, but definitely we have taken necessary steps and we are in a comfortable position to meet our customers' requirement. There is a steep price rise and we are passing on the price increases to the customer, but like Shalini has explained that there is some lag and we are trying to bridge the gap as early as possible.
Oh, great. And sir, for the Indian operations, what would be the utilization levels for you in maybe FY21 and what would be broadly doing now? Or given the 20% volume growth that you're expecting in 22, what will be your utilization level, factory utilization?
Like we have already shared earlier that solar possesses facilities across the globe and product portfolio is also quite wide. It is not possible to calculate one number to give capacity utilization factor. So it is difficult for us.
So where I was coming from, that the need for increasing capacity in India, because the volume growth seems to be picking up, right, both for Coal India and with the housing pickup and infrastructure projects, the things that you have mentioned out. Do you believe there is a need for capacity expansion, and what will be the lead time? Because your pan-India capacity in a project plan is you've still not kind of laid out. So any thoughts around that, more from that perspective?
Okay, I understood your question now. Like we have said that in this financial year, we are likely to spend around 300 odd crores, and out of that almost 135-140 crores has already been invested in the projects. So it is mainly on account of increasing the capacities and increasing the product portfolio. Apart from this, we are also spending on starting the new plants in Australia, Tanzania, and additional plant in Ghana. So because of these, we have planned our investments, and going forward, we are also investing into expanding the product portfolio of defense nature. And these things have been captured while making an annual projection of 300 crores. Apart from this, we have also shared that there are opportunities and there is a need to expand our footprints from one location to multiple locations for some of the products. That's why we are planning to set up plants in the western part, northwestern part of India and southern part of India. So as and when those decision is being taken, we will definitely share with you.
Okay. And sir, lead time for putting up such plants from the conceptualization to the commercial would be something like 2 years? Is that a fair estimate?
Like we have already conceptualized and freeze our plants, so since we have already moved ahead on those things, so we believe that it should take around 2 years or 2.5 years to start the commercial production.
Okay. And so just two questions from my side. In terms of, while Tanzania, Ghana, Australia are the newer regions that you're adding, have you also kind of looked at over the next 2-3 years, how many more countries do you want to add? Any thoughts around that will be helpful. Hello. Hello, am I audible? Hello.
Yes, you are, sir. Please stay connected. Sir, we're not able to hear you.
Hello.
Yes, sir, we can hear you now.
Yeah, sorry for some disturbances. Like we have already shared that it is our strategic plans to expand the global footprints, and we are exploring various opportunities in African world and even Southeast Asia and Australia. So as we move forward, we will definitely share all those details.
To connect Java Speak 710, go to the Bluetooth menu on your mobile device.
Hello. Sorry, there's some disturbance. Hello. Yeah. So just one last question. In terms of the housing and the infra segment, which is more of kind of a dealer-based model for you as well, are you seeing a lot of demand pull, because we're hearing a lot of housing demand moving up and infrastructure projects now expected to pick up? So is there a scope for better margins in that segment, given there will be a strong demand traction? Any thoughts around that segment, sir?
Yeah, we don't share the margins on each customer sector-wise, but on an average, like we have been saying that historically, which we always share that our margins will be in the range of 20 to 22%. But due to recent price rise and a lag between the price rise and finished goods price rise, we are maintaining that we should be able to make an EBITDA margin of around 20%.
Okay. Okay, sir. Thank you so much and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on your touchtone phone now. Participants who wishes to ask a question may press star followed by one on your touchtone phone now. We have next question from the line of Shobhit Tiwari from Canara Robeco Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. So my question is pertaining to the capital allocation, more so with respect to the overseas. So while making the decisions, how do you what sort of return metrics you have in mind while assessing your new geographical footprint?
Generally, as they have been saying, the ROC project, the ROC should be around 25% plus. So we keep that in mind by planning any expansion. And also we see the market. Mainly we have seen in the overseas, it takes time to get on the market and stabilize. So on a gestation period is very long. So on long-term basis, we try to see that should cross ROC of 25%.
And generally, what sort of time does it require to reach that target?
It takes around 4 to 5 years to reach to the target.
Okay. And so, secondly, how do we look at defense segment? So we have invested a significant capital. I understand there has been delays in getting orders and execution. Now going ahead, you've highlighted that do we have a significant order book plus Pinaka order would further be coming in. So what sort of capital allocation towards that and what sort of target and metrics do we have in mind there?
We have been sharing that in last almost 7 to 8 years, we have developed a wide range of products to fulfill our target of making country self-sufficient in ammunition. And we are also looking forward to export these products out of the country. Based on this strategic planning, we have been investing into the products for defense applications. Like we have said that this year our order book stands at 576 crores, and in this financial year we should be able to reach around 275 to 80 crores as far as top line is concerned. For next year, definitely we will share our annual guidance in the next quarter.
And sir, any return metrics in mind here?
Our return matrix is not based on one product or one product portfolio. It is based on a company as a whole. So we believe that we are fairly near to our desired level of around 25-26% of return on capital employed. And as far as return on equity is concerned, we always try to make more than 20% on it. So by and large, our planning and strategy is based on those things.
So thanks, sir. Thanks, sir. And best wishes for Diwali, sir.
Thank you, Ji.
Thank you. To ask a question, please press star 1. We have next question from the line of Mayank Bhandari from Nirmal Bang Institutional Equities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity again. Sir, my question is related to the export markets. We have a very varying margin profile there, and in Zambia it's excess of 30%, Turkey and Nigeria it's less than 20%. And I think in Nigeria and Turkey the scale is also good. So what is the kind of product difference in the product profile there, or how one should read about this?
For Solar Group as a whole, the product profile remains same. It may differ slight on the requirements on the type of minings in the particular countries, but we see the basket as a whole. So for us, we see product at console level only.
Okay. Okay. And secondly, if you can provide what is the export in first half that you do from the standalone entity? Any number? You used to provide the number?
We generally provide the console, and for the console, the first half year, it's 41% of the basket, and in amount terms, it stands at 669.36 crores for exports and overseas.
Okay. Okay, fine. And lastly, I missed the number that you mentioned for the initiation system in the beginning. Can you provide that?
For initiating system, you're talking for half year or quarter?
Half year.
For the half year, domestic initiating system, it is 180 crores in the first half year.
And Q2?
Only Q2, if we say, it's around 84 crores.
Okay, only Q2 it is 84 crores.
Correct. Because of the monsoon, it's a seasonally weaker quarter.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you. To ask a question, ladies and gentlemen, please press star 1. As there are no further questions from the participants, I would now like to hand the conference over to Mr. Chirag Muchhala from Centrum Broking Limited for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, we thank the management for taking time out and sharing their valuable insights on this call, and we also thank all the participants for their presence. So, do you have any closing remarks?
We thank all the participants in the conference of Solar Industries. On behalf of Solar, I wish all a very happy and prosperous Diwali in advance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Centrum Broking Limited, that concludes this conference call. Thank you for joining with us, and you may now disconnect your lines.